All right, I'm back after a long vacation and a few days to sort of acclimate myself back into my normal life. And I've got a special edition of Trump is No Peacemaker today, where instead of talking about some sort of global conflict that Donald Trump couldn't solve or had no part in solving, we're going to talk about one that he's escalating and the most recent people that he has killed. So this is going to be kind of an ongoing series about Venezuela and the ongoing conflict in the Caribbean. So starting in August, maybe even in late July, Donald Trump has deployed more than 4,000 troops and 8 warships to the Caribbean under the pretense of stopping drug trafficking. Very quickly, we got a chance to see sort of what form this would take. What were these troops actually going to do to stop drug trafficking, which is sort of a law enforcement endeavor, generally speaking. And on September 1st, there was a missile strike that killed 11 passengers on a boat that was supposedly carrying drugs. Now, this wasn't a very large vessel, to be clear. This was very small. The amount of drugs they could have presumably been carrying on this thing, not all that much. But I digress. You'd think that a peacemaker would endeavor to surveil and capture these alleged criminals and serve due process to them. But as we all know, Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck about due process rights. Just look at what's happening with ICE. And J.D. Vance doesn't have the decency to try to defend the legality of this strike, and instead on social media he says he doesn't give a shit if people think it's a war crime. To date, we haven't seen a shred of evidence to support their claims about these alleged criminals, nor have we seen a shred of evidence to support their authority to kill people in international waters like this, okay? These aren't enemy combatants. Though Donald Trump is trying to make international criminals potentially be enemy combatants, which we'll talk about later this week. But as far as we know, these are criminals that we would normally, again, capture and serve due process to. There is no authority that Donald Trump has to kill criminals in international waters without serving due process. Full stop. It is not legally allowed. But again, these people don't give a fuck about legality. They don't give a fuck about decency. They don't give a fuck about due process. They have ulterior motives for starting the strike other than trying to stop drug trafficking. They've got motives to start a conflict in the Caribbean, specifically with Venezuela, and we're going to be talking about that later this week. So, yeah, catch me here later.